Hey there! Today's tip is about eliminating barriers to being connected and to communication. And my thought about this particular tip came after a conversation with my good friend David. And he was telling me about, he has a vintage car and he lives in California. And he was telling me about driving the Pacific Coast Highway along the ocean in his car, top down, and just cruising along. And he said every time he would come to a stoplight, people would talk to him. It's like there seemed to be, once the top was down, it gave people permission to engage in conversation. And he was really struck by when that barrier, that physical barrier was removed, that it allowed for more connection with complete strangers and opened up the opportunity for conversation. And I started thinking about where we have different kinds of barriers. I mean, we have physical barriers that really make it much harder for us to have conversations. Sometimes we have geographical barriers. We're distance. I mean, that's one of the things with Bill and I, my partner Bill and I travel a great deal, and so we're apart from one another. And so we started looking at how do we remove the barrier of distance in our relationship, and that we maintain the connection that we have. And so whenever I go away, I write him notes. And I hide them throughout the house, so that while I'm away, he has these little surprises of little love notes and little quips and quotes and whatever I happen to think of that brings him back and has him be connected to me even though I'm not there physically. But one of the other places, and this is a very common barrier that we all engage in, and that is in our language, particularly your jargon. For whatever you're using, there are those keywords that you use that are part of the jargon of your industry or your community. And when you use that kind of jargon, instead of creating connectedness and instead of facilitating great communication, it becomes a barrier. So my advice and my invitation to you is look at the different places where you might be putting up barriers, unintentionally even, that are getting in the way of you being connected to others and that are getting in the way of your communication getting through. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.